claim that has been posed here today. According to an advisory memo from the Office of the Attorney General dated 10/17/16 to the Board of Health, quote, while the Supreme Court has articulated the legal standard applicable to abortion regulations, I want to emphasize that the board has the discretion to determine whether a particular provision is necessary and whether or not it is an undue burden or constitutional. The Attorney General's office stating emphatically that the board had discretion in this matter implies very clearly that the regulations are not necessarily unconstitutional. If the Attorney General believes them to be entirely unconstitutional, then his office should have said so. In fact, the Attorney General's office added in that memo, quote, there is a possibility that Virginia's statutes regarding abortion providers, including the statute requiring certain abortion providers to be regulated by the board as hospitals, could be subject to a constitutional challenge. Well, Mr. Chairman, as you know, everything done around here is subject to a constitutional challenge, but that doesn't make it unconstitutional. So with that in mind, we urge you to vote no on this legislation. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Welcome. About a minute left.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Bill Ray with the Virginia Catholic Conference, and we also oppose this bill for the reasons stated here. Thank you.
Okay, with that, if there's no one else here to speak, Senator Vogel, why don't you wrap up and then we'll work on it.
I just want to say, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, there is nothing in my bill that would prohibit or change the way the Department of Health would actually go out and do inspections for women's health centers. And I just feel very strongly that we, again, should follow the legal construct that the Supreme Court has laid out. And again, there's nothing that would prohibit the Board of Health from issuing appropriate regulations for women's health centers. So.
Okay. So are there questions or comments about the bill?
Mr. Chairman, this situation reminds me of one we've had in the past. And several years ago, one of the more senior members of the House of Delegates made the observation that wouldn't it be a good idea if we had a special part of the code where we put all the things that we don't agree with but we know are unconstitutional? I think this would fit in that category. We know this is unconstitutional. So why are we keeping it in the code? We had a war over a century ago to deal with these issues, and the Confederacy lost.
Okay. Any other comments about the bill? Let me kind of tell you where we are on this bill. It might have some for and some against. We're not positive that Senator Cosgrove is still here, and given the he's coming out. Okay, so he's still in the room. So he is still in the room. I didn't want to on some of these items to vote his proxy without knowing whether or not the senator was here. So now we do know, and Senator Carrico has that proxy. All right, is there a motion on the bill? Senator Donovan, you want to speak before that? Yes.
I want to understand. I did not have a chance to review all of the aspects of these regulations that are in place. And my concern is that the regulations that are important to patient safety that include review of sterilization procedures and other really important things that we've had a hard time, in all honesty, holding abortion clinics accountable for. And I don't want, and I'm concerned that those will be lumped in with the hallway regulations about how wide hallways are. And I really have a problem with this moving forward if we are not ensuring that we're doing right by the Commonwealth. Those are very important to me.
Well, Mr. Chairman and Senator Donovan, that is a fair question, but I have been advised that this, the regulatory aspect that would flow from removing the language that my bill does would only relate to the physical attributes of the center. So whatever services are being provided in a medical way would still be regulated by the Board of Health. I I don't know how to say that any more clearly than I have. Again, it removes the physical requirements.
So, Mr. Chairman. Senator Carrico.
So the testimony of the young lady who said, who was talking about the study that the governor's has that he hasn't acted on, that your bill would go further than what the Department of Health has recommended into the first trimester.
I'm not sure I understand the question, but I think I should make a statement, maybe add a context here. I mean, these women's centers that we're talking about that are, serving our Commonwealth, only about 7% of the procedures are abortion procedures, and they are regulated like an outpatient surgical service, except that these centers have to have these wide hallways, and they have to have so many parking spaces, and they have to have so many water fountains. And in effect, it forces these centers to do costly renovations or to close down. And most of the work that these centers do is providing preventive care and primary care. And in many parts of our Commonwealth, this is the only point of access to that kind of care. So I think we have to bring some perspective and some context to the conversation. I understand that values and other things may be at play, but I think we make better policy when we can be pragmatic.
Mr. Chairman, I move your report.
There's a motion and a second to report. Just to let you know, to Senator Donovan's question, I think we're going to get Tom to get more information just to make sure in case it passes, how broad it is, what it covers, what it doesn't cover. Are we losing anything that we're not anticipating losing? So there's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Substitute motion. Bill be PBI. Is there a second to that motion? There's a second to that motion. All right, the motion is that the bill be PBI. The clerk call the roll.
Senator Sasslaw?
No.
Senator Lucas?
No.
Senator Howell?
No.
Senator Lott?
No.
Senator Barker?
No.
Senator Black?
Senator Black votes aye.
Senator Carrico?
Aye.
Senator Peterson?
No.
Senator Cosgrove?
Senator Cosgrove votes aye.
Senator Lewis?
No.
Senator Donovan?
Aye.
Senator Chase?
Aye.
Senator Sugarland?
That's by definitely yes.
Senator Peake?
Yes.
Senator Newman? 8-7.
So the bill will be passed by definitely. Senator, thanks for coming. I appreciate that. Does that complete your bills? I know you had two that I saw.
It completes my bills for today before your committee. Thank you.
We're grateful you came by. Thank you for coming by. Okay. Up next is, I think that there are some people here to hear Senator Donovan's bills, and so Ms. Barker would continue to allow us to let Senator Donovan go. We'll go with your bills, and then we'll go back to Senator Barker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with Senate Bill 1026. Senate Bill 1026 is somewhat of a clarification of code and language. It basically establishes the floor for eligibility for a 2-year transfer credit. In the budget language, that is listed as 12,000, and in the code, the change is not made to 8,000, and this is really just to clarify the two. So that they are consistent. It's caused some confusion when the budget language obviously trumps code, but it's been confusing in processing 2-year college transfer grants.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak either in support or in opposition to Senate Bill 1026? If not, the bill, if it's in relation to be reported, would need to be reported and referred to finance. So, is there a motion on this? Mr. Chairman. Okay. There's a motion second to be referred to finance. Senator Sugarland, did you have a? I was making that motion. Perfect. All right, the motion is the bill be reported and referred to finance. All all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those no, the bill is reported and referred to finance. Senator Donovan, do you have one more bill?
Mr. Chairman, I was gonna ask, I know there are some people to speak on this bill, 1243, but we do have some language issues that we need to settle out. I was gonna pass it by for the day. Could they, if somebody had come, could they have the opportunity to speak?
So you'd like for them to speak, but would not take up the bill, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Let's do that briefly, and then we'll who's here to speak for the bill?
And if they're gonna be here next week, if they can just wait, that would be fine.
They will be here next week, you're saying?
If they are, if there's somebody that cannot be here next week, if they could speak now, otherwise it would hold it till next week.
That would be helpful. So if you're gonna be around next week, that's great. Anyone here that traveled to speak to this bill that cannot be here next week? So you just, without objection, the bill goes on for the day.
Thank you.
Senator Barker, thank you. So just for the committee's understanding, that was Senate Bill 1243 that went by for the day. Senator Barker?
Yes, Senate Bill 1020 is dealing with peer recovery specialists and qualified mental health professionals. It's an administration bill from the governor's office, and there are people who can help answer questions if need be on this. There are a number of people who are involved in peer recovery assistance efforts related to substance abuse and sometimes mental health services for individuals. It's a fairly common type of thing that's provided. What is being done here is an attempt to try to have the peer recovery specialists in some of these situations be paired up with qualified mental health professionals in a collaborative way, which would then help in terms of providing reimbursement for some of the services. Whether the peer recovery specialists in many instances are ones who can relate very well to the individuals. Individuals trust them, and the services they provide actually are very effective in helping individuals with substance abuse and mental health problems deal with those. We do have a substitute to this bill, I think here. Oh, line members, okay, all right. Whatever.
Tom, did you report the line amendments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Senator Barker. On page 3, on line 125, after contractor of strike mental health service, insert the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services 4A. On line 133, after services, comma A, strike mental health service. On line 165, after recovery specialist, insert or qualified mental health professional who is not otherwise licensed by a health regulatory board of the Department of Health Professions. Page 6, line 314, after contractor of strike a mental health service, insert the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services 4A. Page 6, line 314, after provider, strike as defined in 54.1-2400.1. Perhaps Senator Barker was wise, and should substitute line 322, after services A, strike mental health service. Line 322, striking that reference to 54.1 again, 54.1-2400.1 again. And that's it.
So everyone understand the amendments? So motion on the amendments?
Second.
The amendments are before us. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those no, the amendments are agreed to. Are there other questions, Senator Barker? Are those that would like to speak in favor of the bill or in opposition to the bill, or are you just here to answer questions? Questions? Okay. Well.
My name is Jennifer Federa with the Virginia Network of Private Providers, and we are in favor of the bill. We are in favor of the concept of what this is doing. There are a couple of technical things that we still are working with Department of Behavioral Health, Department of Medical Assistance Services, and DHP to kind of work out a couple of that still are, not quite settled yet. But
Let me say this, George, do you mind if I have a sort of bill about the, I have questions, and they may be, I have questions about how it impacts some other things, or mine, sorry.
No, that's fine. That's not a problem.
Good job. Let's build about it for the day that.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. There's one other bill I have, which is Senate Bill 1015. This is one that I've carried in the past, but there are some issues that have arisen, I think, that does put a little bit of a different light on this situation. This is a bill to require, and it would do so by July of 2019, that all the school systems across the Commonwealth have full-day kindergarten for kindergarten students. We have over 130 school divisions across the Commonwealth. All but 3 now have full-day kindergarten for all their kindergarten students. The 3 that do not at this particular point are Loudoun County, Virginia Beach, and Chesapeake. None of those is in a poor rural area, or otherwise a situation where the a case could be made about limited resources there. In fact, Loudoun County has been the most affluent county in the entire United States in terms of median household income. What has been stated in the past in many instances when I brought this is that the school divisions would move, would move towards addressing this issue and gradually get to having all the schools have full-day kindergarten. Unfortunately, that is not the situation. All 3 of those school divisions, still 2/3 of their students do not have full-day kindergarten. And in all 3 of the school divisions, 15 to 20% of the kindergarten students in those localities who will be in school in the 1st or 2nd grade don't go to the schools for kindergarten because they don't have that full-day kindergarten available in one of the private schools and other arrangements for full-day kindergarten. So it is a significant issue. One of the school divisions last school year had actually a slight reduction in the number of students in full-day kindergarten. Another school division had an increase of about 2 percentage points, but it's still below less than 30% of all the students. Loudoun County did increase theirs, but it's still less than 1/3 of all their students. And it seems to me that the argument that they would get there on their own is not happening, and I think that we need to take action to try to do that. It seems to me it's not fair to those students and those families, and it just so happens that my granddaughter lived in Loudoun County until right before she started kindergarten, when my son and daughter-in-law moved to Fairfax County, moved about 4 miles away across London to Fairfax County. She very seriously needed to have full-day kindergarten, and she got it in by being in Fairfax County rather than London County.
Perfectly, we understand. Now, just so I understand, the bill would basically require the school board to do something that today they decided not to do. Is that correct?
That's what it appears to be, yes.
Okay. Are there those that are here to support the bill?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Kathy Birch with the Virginia Education Association. I haven't had a chance to say hello to all of you individually. I'm the new Government Relations Director. Our longtime director, Rob Jones, who is a very familiar face to this committee, has retired. And right now is in Peru on vacation with his wife, Jackie, just as he promised he would be during session. The Virginia Education Association supports this bill.
Perfect, thanks for coming. Hello, welcome. We're not going to do a timer, assuming that there won't be.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Jim Baldwin. I'm the Executive Director for the Elementary Principals Association, and we support this bill because we believe that it prepares children for the demands we're placing on them throughout their education.
Perfect, thanks for coming. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, I'm Barry Weinstein with the Fairfax, Hampton, and Norfolk Federation of Teachers, and also a member of the School Readiness Committee. School readiness for Virginia's children, the gateway to educational workforce success, is both an educational and economic imperative for Virginia to achieve optimal return on its investment in kindergarten. Time, full time in the classroom should be non-negotiable. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. All right. Anyone else to speak back to the bill? Those that are struggling with the bill, welcome. Yeah.
Chairman, Committee
working with the school board to get there. In fact, the plan right now is for by FY18 to be at 82% full day, where they're around 50% currently. With the goal of by 2020 to be at 85% full day and a plan to get the remaining 15%. The problem with the remaining 15% is capital costs. So the county is aggressively getting there as fast as it can within the limitations of its fiscal restrictions. So while we don't oppose sort of the spirit of it, the county's working hard to get there, and if money comes with this bill, that might help.
Okay, thanks, Chairman. Others that have concerns about the bill?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Donna Costoon, and I am representing Chesapeake School Board. This bill will just mandate that this is done very soon, and the plan is in place, but we just don't have the facilities, and it's also instructional costs as well. So we oppose the bill.
Perfect. Thanks for coming today. Yes, ma'am, welcome.
I'm Mary Jo Fields with the Virginia Municipal League.